Yeah, we really felt Weber State was a quality opponent, and it was great to get a fast start, really on all phases, and shut them down. They did have a pretty good second drive that they ended up getting a field goal on, but we stopped them throughout the game up until the very end of the game, at least on the scoreboard part of it, and our offense was able to get untracked, and a lot of players made plays, which was a lot of fun, and then a lot of players got to play, which hasn't really been the case since every game's kind of been down to the wire, so probably other than Idaho State and Northern Colorado before the Weber State game. Well, it was interesting, after our game, we go into our team room and athletic team room, and we have a little celebration, and some of the defensive players did comment on our time of possession, which was, they were joking a little bit, but it was actually a lot of fun because we did have the ball a little bit more than usual and allowed them to get a little more rest, and so they could play really with their hair on fire and make great plays, and that was very rewarding to have that happen. Well, we have used both tight ends quite a bit, and then Jacob Haas, our third tight end, went down with a knee injury, and so we have to be very, very careful and selective when we play those two players, because we don't have a really any depth at all now that Jacob's down. So, with that, you still have to be, you cannot be conservative with what you're doing game plan wise. And we've actually thrown to the tight ends quite a bit more than last year. However, I think it showed up a lot more. Obviously, the completions show up a lot more, and they're in the books versus an incompletion. But we have thrown more of the tight ends this year than we did last year, and I hope we continue to do that in our game plan. Our staff actually came in a little bit earlier on Sunday than usual, maybe to guard against a situation like that. Like we talked to the team yesterday about, we've gone to Oregon State and beaten the Beavers, and we went to Tennessee with all intentions of winning that game. We did not plan on coming back with a loss, and I honestly say that. I think that was across the board. Our players didn't think they were going to lose to Tennessee, and obviously we lost to Tennessee, but that's exactly what's happening in Monmouth, Oregon right now. They're preparing to beat us, and we have to prepare to beat them, and really to go out there and compete with not only against Western Oregon, but also against ourselves or with ourselves, and we do that every day. We compete, against ourselves each day in practice. They're a multiple offensive team. They will look a little bit like our offense. They have two big, strong quarterbacks that will remind you, if you were all here, of Swagger. They run a little bit better than Josh did at the time in his prime. Then they'll bring in Von Oppen and run a wildcat type of situation where he kind of scampers all over, and he'll do the zone read, and then he'll go block the defensive end's knees. And he's a very tough kid. He's all over the place. He's like that ever-ready bunny. He just goes. Then they have a receiver that has close to 55 catches, and then a young freshman receiver out of Salem that's doing a real nice job going up and getting the football. Their offensive line is a big physical offensive line. They're as big as we are, just about in the offensive line. Defensively, they come after the quarterback. They play with a lot of emotion. They have a safety that has 7 interceptions, I think 8 or 9 pass blocks, and then 1 fumble recovery for a large gain. So, those guys, they'll hit you each and every play. Very formidable opponent. Yeah, Mazaki, he is the quarterback. His parents were the head coach and assistant volleyball coaches at Portland State. They're also coaches at Oregon State in volleyball. So have known that family for quite a while. Looked at him when we were at the University of Oregon. He came to some combines. So did Bean, the second team quarterback. Again, big, strong guys that will remind you of Swags. And then Devin Wells, looking through that, I actually grew up with his father. Actually, Jerome Sowers and I and him used to hang out. So that was kind of a neat deal. I remember now that he went to Western, and he's also their long snapper, and he's done a great job in that area. So that'll be kind of neat to see some of those people. Well, it was pretty neat to be an assistant coach here under Coach Houck in '09, and sometimes you get to know the players in a different capacity as an assistant versus a head football coach, and I feel like I knew most of the guys when we took the head job here, and that's been a really neat growing experience. That defensive line, I don't want to talk about them too much because they got a few games left in them, but what a great group of guys that is. And then you got McSurdy backing all those guys up, and you just man, you feel good coming to work every day. And there's some things about the offense is the same with our two tackles, and they played a lot of football for us. And then of course Jabin has played a ton since his freshman year, and so it's really a special group on and off the field. They've done so many great things for this university, community service-wise. I mean, I know Ryan Featherston last week, I believe, called a girl that has cancer, and he put a bunch of other players on the phone, and just the little things. And he doesn't want really anybody to know about it, and so I guess I'm telling everybody about it. But those things that you just later in life you're just going to go, wow, that was such a special group. And the '09 was a special group too. We lost a lot of talent and a lot of great people, off the field as well. And a reflection is, I want to wait and reflect on it, and there's no question about that, because I want to see them practice hard and go through Daytona and Fuji drills today, and see Bobby smiling over there when we talk about Fuji. So, but those things that I think we've pushed the senior class pretty hard because we knew they were a special class, again, on and off the field. Well, there's a thought that John could be cleared later in the week, and that would be, again, such a great feeling, that chicken soup, that feel-good deal for us, because he, like I mentioned, he helped coach a little bit last week, and then I just like him a lot better as a player than a coach. Not that he didn't help us, but I just feel better when he's, dressed in those shoulder pads. And then Gerald will be cleared. He was cleared last Friday morning. He played a few plays in the second quarter for us, and it stiffened up a little bit on him, and we didn't want to chance it, but he had a pretty decent practice in a short practice yesterday, so we feel Gerald will be hopefully pretty darn close to being 100%. I think Jordan will probably by the end of the week be able to go. I don't know if he'll be close to 100, but it's that time of the year where you got to play with a few owies, so hopefully he'll be able to go.
I looked through the roster today and I recognized a handful of names, probably 15 or 20. I don't know any of the guys that play on offense, but I know one of their corners, number 2, Isaiah Buchanan's from Grant High School. Played against him my sophomore year, and he's a good player. He was the player of the week in their conference last week. And one of their linebackers is from Southridge High School, which is in the Portland, Beaverton area. But yeah, I definitely recognize a couple of names on their roster. Yeah, I think anytime you get off to a fast start, it's nice. But it was just finally a feeling of, we finally started fast instead of, wait until the second quarter or the second half to get things going. And, it caught Weber a little off guard defensively. I don't think they thought we were going to be as good as we were on offense. And, it was a good feeling, and I think it's going to give us confidence, going through the year. Just work as hard as you can every day at practice to get better and to make everybody around you better, I think. And, just take the momentum from the game and take it into each practice, each play in every practice, and just do your 1/11th, and I think we'll be all right. I think it's a little bit of both. I wasn't 100% healthy. I had to get my ankle spatted up. But, I think the progression part about what you talked about, every day I try to get better, and, I go out there and work as hard as I can with all the other guys on the team, and, I think we're we're playing our best football at the time where you want to be playing your best football.
Definitely, they're the first team that emulates, closely to what our offense does. So we'll have our game plan of how we play our own offense daily. So we don't have to think of new rules on how to play like a quarterback keep per se. But it's a little bit of familiarity, which helps because we haven't played them before, like you guys were saying. And so it definitely gives us a leg up on preparation. Yeah, the defensive effort, I think it was great this Saturday. I think we just came out, like as Coach Flu said, that we came out ready to go and we came out firing on all phases of the game, unlike last year. I think we caught off guard a little bit there, running a little up tempo and power football, so we got caught on our heels kind of a thing. And this year we knew what to expect coming in, and we wanted to out prepare them and come out fit, make a stamp on that game that we were going to be physical also. Not too much. They kept fighting. They're a great football team, and they kept fighting the entire game. But certain things, I think, like we had some of their, we would figure out their plays or some of their toss plays or something like that. They would be a little bit discouraged that we were already in places where we were supposed to be, as to opposed to last year where we would get caught off guard in a play. I think more than anything, they just got a little bit like discouraged as far as play calling, but I don't think they gave up at all. They kept fighting the whole game. It's awesome to watch, and we get enough time on the sideline to make corrections or shore up a little stuff that we see on the field, and then we get to cheer on our guys and watch them, with those explosive plays that we see in practice. They're actually, a lot of the stuff was working this Saturday, so more than anything, just out there to support them, and puts a lot of energy into us and our fans also. The big offensive plays energize the fans and just helps us when we get out there to be that much more energetic and play with our hair on fire, as Coach Flu said. Senior day, it's going to be full of a lot of emotions. We have our last guaranteed football game in a stadium that we love to play in, and we're thankful to this program for what they've given all of us for 4 years of education, or however long our seniors have been here, whether they're transfers or not. And going out with this group of guys, I couldn't ask to go out with any better of a group. All of us have a real close bond, and it's just going to be a real special day for all of us.